Hello, everyone. I hope all is well. My name is Sukhum, and welcome to another live stream episode of the Sukhum Show. I usually don't share what it is that I talk about, so I'll probably make a prelude. I forget, I'm not doing recording, I'm actually doing live streaming. So I'll probably have to say this every time I live stream. Well, what I like to do and share is I like to talk about personal development tools that you can utilize and put in your development toolkit. And if one resonate with you, feel free to use that and share it. So that's what I like to talk about. I hope you guys take something away from that too. Today, we have a few things to chat about. We have the conversation about holding people accountable and an update on hashtag Omatum. And then we only have a few more days, 5 to 6 days until June starts and the new challenge starts. And I am excited about that. So let's get on with it. Changes happened or happens or comes up. And that's when accountability conversation also comes up as well too. So when I ask people like, how do you hold, are you holding yourself accountable or are you holding others accountable? Before I dig into that question, I want to take a step back and share some things regarding some experiences I've dealt with and also what I've seen and read as well. And let's talk about the workplace in companies. And side note, this is from the book Crucial Conversation. I think it's a great book. I think there's a lot to learn from it. As I was reading it, I was like, man, this really resonates. I know some of the things that I've seen some of the things in my own company and other places I've worked as well too. And it talks about, in the very beginning of the book, it talks about when things don't go the way the company wants it to go, whether if there was a policy, a process, some kind of structure or system, and it didn't pan out the way that was planned out, oftentimes there's a quick move for change. There's a look at the performance, they look at other processes, and that's what is constantly being looked at. But you see, the key thing to real change is not in implementing any new process or system or structure, but it's getting people to actually hold one another accountable for the processes that are set in place. Now that was huge. And the reason why I say that was huge is because what I recognized in certain workplaces, there was a lack of accountability. And either from your leadership team, from the management team to your supervisors and down all the way to the associate level, there was a huge lack of accountability. And then the process or the system that usually crumble or it doesn't fall or go through as smoothly. So those are the things that comes up when it comes to talking about change. And here's the thing. So let's look at it this way. The worst and bad companies, they'll look at your poor performers and they'll probably ignore them at first. And then if they continue to be bad, they'll transfer them. They'll move them to another department. And that's how they deal with the problem. They don't really deal with it. They just shift it around and the problem comes up and up again later down the road. Your good companies, they have leaders and bosses who eventually they end up dealing with the issues. And sometimes it could be messy. Sometimes it could, go left field or right field. But like, eventually they'll deal with it. And that's the key word, eventually. So those are the good companies. But the great companies, from associate all the way up to management level, everyone holds everyone accountable. No, those are the great companies. And I think about, I'm trying to give a good scenario or example of the great companies, but nothing comes to my mind. I think this is blank. Note to self, write stuff like that down so I can have that available. I had some notes, but I didn't write down the example companies. But those are the great companies. And what I gather from that, at least, it makes sense, right? Imagine if you have a small company and you're starting up, the group of 10, 20, 30 people is probably heavily invested in the startup of the company. And they'll hold one another accountable towards the end goal. Now, as you get bigger and bigger, and if that culture isn't there, then you'll have some struggles. Then you'll have some issues and problems too. So these are things that comes up for changes, and how are we holding one another accountable? So that was a conversation. So here's a quote for everybody. Accountability is the glue that ties commitment to results. Bob Proctor said that. I have no idea who that is, but I thought it was a great quote. Accountability is the glue that ties commitment and results. It ties commitments to results. So think about that. And I bring this up now because I'm super excited about next week. I get the opportunity to run alignment meeting at my workplace. And I'll be sharing some conversation. I don't want to share too much about it because if people that work with me is watching this now, they're prepping up for it. And there'll be some things I want to test out and try and talk to. And I realized before I started doing YouTube, we have this thing called alignment meeting at work. And for 15 minutes out of the day, everyone shuts down. They come together and we get aligned on the business. We talk about shout outs, acknowledging people in the warehouse. We do announcements from the leadership team down, anything that we want to bring up to the team. And then Mondays we have like development days, Tuesday safety, Wednesdays like straight business, and Thursday is fun days. So these are the categories and things that come up. And usually on first shift, there's about a good 100 to 100 and maybe 50 people present at alignment. And it is a great platform to practice speaking, practice that public speaking skill. And I'm excited in the sense of I've been doing the YouTube videos for the last 2 months. Specifically, most of May, I've been doing live stream. And I shared this message in the beginning when I first started doing live stream is how do I get better at my speaking? And I was real adamant about using live stream as practice so you can get better speaking. And now it's time to put it to the test. I'm super pumped up on what I can do to really talk about that with the team. Like, how do I share the message? Because I'm not nervous about running alignment. I've done that a number of times. I actually find it exciting to run it. But this week is going to be a little different, as in like, I want to be intentional with not only how I'm being a speaker, how my message is coming out, and what is the end message. So again, I've done that in the past, but it's more of like spitballing right off the top of my head because I know the topics and I was able to share that. But now I want to be, not only do I know it, but I want to be super intentional with it. And I'm excited and nervous a little bit at the same time, but it's pumped up too. Hey, Brand Haas, how's it going? Bob Proctor is on Twitter, author, speaker, at Bob Proctor Live. Oh, snaps. I didn't even know that. I will probably have to check him out too. So I did love his quote. And speaking of that quote, again, accountability is the glue that ties commitments to results. Now, putting companies aside, shift that mindset and talk about you personally. How are you holding yourself accountable to your business, to YouTube, or the social media platform that you're committing to, or the projects that you're trying to get done? How are you holding yourself accountable? Remember that commitment to results, that is a huge shift in your mindset to really grasp that and understand that. And for me, I'm thinking about like my way of holding myself accountable is setting myself clear goals. And if I'm not able to hit those clear goals, then I don't want to say it's a punishment, but because I feel like I focus a lot on my work ethics, but then I need to either sacrifice sleep or I need to sacrifice something to make up for it, or I recognize that like this isn't feasible in my bandwidth or in my capacity at the time, and I need to make some powerful requests in terms of communicating with the people that I'm working with, or being open and honest with my audience about, hey, this is not in my capacity, I took on too much, or hey, this came up, now this is going to get pushed back. It's about that communication piece and what you're willing to own, and then move forward with that so you can be an effective leader communicating, because people understand that changes comes up. People understand that life happens as well too. It's just that people don't appreciate not being kept in the communication. Like all it took was a simple, hey guys, this is what's going on right now. Impact is this is there's going to be some delays. There's going to be some rescheduling and moving things down because of the impact. Now, I would say caution that with the notion of like, how often is that coming up for you? If it's a trend that you're constantly having issues of committing to those things, then you are taking on too much. And if you're just not hitting buy wins and stuff, buy wins or following or committing to the due date, then there's another conversation there about your ability to access the project. So there's a lot coming up. And actually, we just had a leadership meeting on Strength Finder again. We just finished and closed it up. And what we got out of it was we took our whole team and we did the Strength Finder exercise, and every team member, every leader had 5 strengths. Excuse me. And what we did was we put their name under every single strength, and we saw certain groups of people that they had similar strength, or they had the same strength. And then after everyone was mapped out, what we did was we put them on those 4 categories, and it was strategic, there was an executioner, there was a relator, and there was an influencer. And I guess some of the strengths fall under each different category. And the intention of all this exercise was to recognize what kind of strength this team had. And if we were to build a team to tackle a project, we want one from every single category of these groups. And that's how we want to mesh our teams together. And then that just helps propel the team further. And because certain strengths shows up in others, and people can take on more specific responsibilities when it comes to that. So that was a great exercise. I'm already thinking in my mind like who I want on my team when I'm starting projects and what I'm able to do. I'm also thinking about like when a project does come up now, I'm not trying to take everything on. I know what my strengths are, and I know that I'm not good with like the Excel and the PowerPoint area, but I do have some team members who loves that, but they don't like the speaking and engagement portion, which I love. And then when we partner together, we're like, hey, you can take this on and I will take that on. And it builds this cohesive team where we can get things done, and we're not stuck on the things that we're not passionate or our strength are in. So that was a really great exercise. I just had to share that with everybody real quick. And I would love for more people to take Strength Finder and then have your whole team take that, because I think the conversation from it was, you as an individual, it's okay to not have certain strength when you're doing, taking on things. But as a team, ideally, you want to make sure your team is well-rounded. Missing a certain strength and a certain component out of a team can really hinder a team's progression and their ability to excel in that too. So huge thing, Strength Finder. I love it. I was really looking into Strength Finder as a coach, as a coaching certification too as well. So I was trying to get my company to see if they can pay for it in some way or help with that. Excuse me. But it's quite expensive as well too. So, but exciting things. I just want to share that. I had a great conversation with a lot of people after the meeting, and they were just super pumped walking out of that one too. So, recapping real quick. accountability in companies, accountability for yourself. How are you doing that? How are you holding yourself accountable? How are you holding your personal team accountable for that? So take that away. And then last thing of all, hashtag Omatum, day 25 down. I am extremely exhausted and tired today. We did a leadership boot camp team sweat. So I feel like my whole upper body is sore. I was drenched in sweat. It doesn't help when I have like a competitive nature as well too. And then my peers are also competitive. And I'm telling myself I'm just gonna take it easy because I haven't worked out in a long time. I just usually just do a mile. And when they started pushing me and I started pushing back and we just kept getting in a competitive mode, and next thing you know, I'm completely like out of breath and I'm like about to pass out. But it was a great time. It was a great sweat for the team. That's one of the things our leadership team likes to do is like we want to do a team sweat once a month as a whole team, just to connect and build more on that too. And that's something we're encouraging our entire building to do, like each department to do their own team sweat. And we're just trying to do our best to lead as example and just build that sweatness. So, cool. 16 minutes in. That is all I have for you guys today. Tomorrow is Friday. I actually am going paintballing tomorrow. So our leadership team is having another team builder and we're going paintballing. So I'll have to figure a way to get my 1 mile sweat in. I'll probably just run like crazy at the paintball arena so I don't get hit. But I'm excited for that. Stories to that to come tomorrow. And I'm going to be digging into a little more of crucial conversation. So I also want to talk about when apologizing is appropriate and when to use contrasting. Contrasting if the notion of you want to contrast between I don't want this and I do want this, to be able to communicate that one. And the last one was mutual purpose, where you're seeking to understand the conversation. And all three plays in a role of how you're communicating with someone else. So I'm looking forward to that. Branha says, I think running from the paintballs counts for Omatum. I think I will be doing a lot of running. Yeah. Our leadership team is not the most athletic team, but I feel like we're going to have fun. I really don't know what the teams are, but I'm super pumped on it too. There's about 2 or 3 hours of that. So yeah, I definitely feel like I'm going to get a workout in too. So other than that, yeah, I'll be tackling crucial conversation. And I think for the next few episodes, that will be a main topic. I really want to go through that book and really share some key points, because crucial conversation is not just about in the workplace. You're talking about it'll improve your relationships, it'll improve your health, and it'll improve your work life as well too. So a lot of things that you can take away, can improve your organization is your work, and or even kickstart your own career too. But these are things that help you because you're always going to be dealing with people. And the question is, how do you handle those conversations when things get really crucial and it gets hard to talk about, and we've got to practice somewhere. So definitely I want to dig into that and share more of that with everyone, and my learnings, my takeaways, and how I'm practicing that on a daily basis too. Cool. Brand, thank you for joining in. As always, I appreciate your presence here. And thank you for watching. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do hit that subscribe button, hit the bell button for notifications so you get the live stream. And if you haven't noticed, I live stream Monday through Friday. Next week is Memorial Day. So Monday, no, I'm planning on live streaming. Unless I'm out of town or I'm planning something else, but I'm currently right now I'm set for, I'm planning on live stream. Should something change, if family things come up and we have something last minute, I will update and communicate accordingly. But right now I'm planning a live stream again too. All right. thank you guys for tuning in so much. I hope you guys took something away from this show, whether it be how you're going to hold yourself accountable, how you're going to hold others more accountable, if you're doing the hashtag Omatum, and if you're interested in Strength Finder, I highly encourage it. So I hope you guys took something away. And as always, thank you for watching. My name is Sukhum HING, and this is me signing off of this Sukhum Show. Until then, take it easy, my friends. Later. 2, 3.